Hello everyone, Darcenovia here. I made a mistake on this review and I forgot to, ironically, disable my video playing in the background when I was reviewing this, which is a stupid mistake. So, this is a re-review of Star Wars Book of the Sith. Now, what is special about this book? Well, this is information regarding the Sith and the Legends continuity, but if you're the kind of person that doesn't really care about what Disney has to say in terms of canon in Star Wars, then I still recommend this as a good read. Of course, as far as I'm concerned, I really don't think this really contradicts much of established lore, with the exception of the lightsabers, if you're talking about Disney canon. But then again, I don't think any of you come here to hear about me talking about Disney canon. So, Book of the Sith. This, I really like it. Even though Matt Wilkins has a problem with the scrambling, you know, with the characters' commentary, I actually don't mind it. It's interesting to read their points. This essentially has passages of various different, you know, it seems like something the Sith would do, you know, because you know most of the knowledge of the Sith are lost over millennia through war and infighting within the Sith, and of course, all of it being possessed by the Jedi. In a way, you could think of this kind of the Bible of the Sith, in a way, because you know there's much stuff in the Bible that we're going by the real world that's missing, and some of the passages in here may cut off at some points because it's not completed, but it feels like a legitimate one. And this actually gives you some history on the Sith. You know, from the Great Schism all the way to when Palpatine comes into power. I feel like this book, you know, is a really good way of learning about the Sith philosophy, at least a starting point. And of course, it has some great artwork too. Even tells you, the Sith's methods on war. You even get some journals with some of the Sith, like Darth Bane and Darth Malgus. Even some accounts through the Witches of Dathomir. Even though TCW is, a lot of people are reluctant to accept this as canon, I do feel like this book, you know, it does connect this with TCW. Of course, it reveals Palpatine, his plan on what he intended to do during the Clone Wars. And honestly, this book gives you a little bit more insight on Palpatine and how brilliant of a politician he truly was. I'll talk about Palpatine as a character probably at a later day, but he turned the entire Jedi against the Sith, the Republic against the Jedi. And this book explains that. Of course, I consider this the Mein Kampf of Star Wars, in my opinion. It is a really good book. It gives you some interesting insight on the Sith. Hell, even has some insight on Darth Plagueis, on Metachlorians, and the way the book is presented. It feels like a real actual book that the Sith would actually make. I kind of consider this the Bible of the Sith. And this is the first volume that Palpatine intended to write regarding the Book of the Sith and its teachings. And despite this information being legends, should you bother with this? Of course you should. It gives you interesting insight on the Sith. And honestly, I read this before I read the Jedi Path because it was so much more interesting. The insights it gives you on the Sith. The Sith are probably some of the most interesting, group of people in the Star Wars universe. And this book makes them more interesting. Of course, there's some other books that deals with them, like Jedi vs. Sith and a few others, but I feel like if you want to learn something about the Sith, this is a great book to start. I give this a classic rating. I think it's really good. This is Darcenovia, over and out. May the Force be with you guys, and hopefully I don't have to do another re-review. Later.